All right, folks, let's just dive right in today. I got plenty to chat through, but before we get into the nitty gritty, I cheers for all the birthday members. Had a wee weekend away, kept it fairly low-key. You're probably wondering what I got. Right, well, nothing too flashy, just some socks, which you can never have too many of, to be honest, and a new pair of Adidas shoes, decent pair actually. But that was about it. Weather's been roasting as well, so the weekend was more about switching off, bit of peace and quiet, but even still managed to catch Celtic's preseason friendly against Estrela da Amadora. That game ended 3-2, and even though it's only a preseason fixture, there were a few things worth talking about. Now I'm not gonna ramble for hours on this because let's be honest, by the time most of you are watching this, the games... Oh, news already. It was a behind closed doors match. No fans, no buzz played over at Benfica's training campus, which, credit where it's due, is a tidy wee place. And it's hard to take massive conclusions from these games, but they always give you a little glimpse into where the team's at. So let's just break it down into two halves, because basically that's what Brendan Rodgers gave us. Two different 11s for each 45. In the first half, we had Sinisalo in goals. Back four of Ben McPherson at right back Kobe Donovan. And Austin Trusty in the center and Kieran Tierney making his return on the left side. Midfield had Callum McGregor sitting deeper with Luke McCowan and Rayo Hatade just ahead. Front three was Marco Tilio wide, right Dyson Maida out on the left, and Callum O'Reilly up top. And right away, my first reaction during the opening exchanges was just how loud Sinisalo is. Honestly, I thought it was a coach barking instructions at first, but no, it was the big keeper himself. Proper commanding barking, left shoulder, body, in this sharp English accent. And listen, I don't care if you're Kieran Tierney or anyone else. If Sinisalo tells you to look over your shoulder, you better be doing it. Guy's voice cuts right through the park. Felt like he was doing everything he could to organize from the back. And fair play to him. That's exactly what you want from your keeper. Didn't look chuffed when we conceded the second goal, though, especially from a set piece. And that's the thing, isn't it? Set pieces, once again, a bit of a soft spot for Celtic. We struggled with them last season. Remember Leipzig, the derbies, the European nights. And it's not looking like we've cracked it yet. I mean, I watched closely, not just the one we conceded, but the corners before that, too. And the man marking is just not convincing. You can see gaps guys being pulled away, and I think it was McPherson that lost his man for their goal. Personally, I'd like us to explore a bit of a hybrid, mix of zonal and man marking, because the full man marking approach looks a bit fragile. You can see it's something that needs worked on, even if it is early days. There was this wee moment during a water break, Callum McGregor Tierney and Austin Trusty all having a quick chin wag. And it just clicked for me. Tierney and Trusty were both at Arsenal at one point. Did they ever play together? Quick check online. And they did. I played at least one match together in a friendly against MLS All-Stars. And there's even a photo of the two having a wee chat on the pitch. So that familiarity could be gold for us, because right now, looking at that left side, Trusty and Tierney, it's probably our strongest partnership at the back. Unless Liam Scales has something to say about that. But still, that connection could be huge over the course of the season. And look, I thought Tierney looked pretty sharp considering it was his first match back. He's just got that natural calmness on the ball. You know the way fans felt when Jota had the ball. Like that buzz, that sense that something was going to happen. You get that again with Tierney. And him linking up with Maida on the left. That's got real potential. They weren't fully clicking yet, but give them time. And that could be one of the most dangerous partnerships we've got. So it was good to see him back. Felt like a proper return, even if it was only 45 minutes behind closed doors. Then we had the second half team, pretty much a full change. In goals was Ross Doohan, or Dewey, as McGregor called him in a recent Celtic TV thing. Not exactly the most creative nicknames in the squad. Anyway, backline was Ralston at right back, Dane Murray, and Liam Scales in the center, with Nomura coming. In at left back. McGregor actually stayed on for a bit, before being subbed for young Sean McCauley around the hour mark. We also had Benjamin Nguyen making his debut and Ane Engels featuring in midfield. James Forrest on the right wing, Hyun Jun Yang on the left, and Adama up front. Now the second half, to be fair, didn't quite have the same control. First half felt a bit more structured, especially with Hatat pulling strings. When he and McGregor came off, we looked a wee bit more disjointed. That's natural though. And to be fair, I thought Forrest stood out in that second 45. Looked like the sharpest player, still had that desire, that drive to take players on and make something happen. As for Nguyen's good debut, the build-up for Adam's goal was excellent. Nguyen with the drive, quick little burst and a smart cutback, and Adam finished well. That move right there was probably the most encouraging part of the whole game. Not just the goal, but the intent behind it. Sean McCauley, right, obviously still very young. What is he, 16 or 17? So you're not expecting the finished article. He had a few ropey moments, couple of misplaced passes, looked every bit his age at times. But see the way he moves, his awareness, his first touch, it's all there. He's got a proper football brain. Left-footed, black boots, ginger hair. Tell me he doesn't remind you a wee bit of Barry Robson. And I know folk will laugh at that, but I'm being serious. There's something there. Heard a whisper that Brendan Rodgers is actually quite keen on him, sees him playing more than just the odd appearance this season. Maybe 5 games, maybe 25, who knows. But just the fact he was the only attacking player from the B team to get minutes speaks volumes. Honestly, I'd not be against him being the backup to McGregor. We've struggled to bring in a proper deputy. A bill guard didn't work. Neither did McCarthy or Itaguchi. McGregor ends up playing almost every single minute, even in games like this where the whole team gets changed, he's still on the pitch. So why not give McCauley that responsibility, let him learn from McGregor, step in now and again, and maybe surprise a few folk. Right, for a game I said I wouldn't dwell on. I've probably gone on a fair bit, haven't I? Brendan Rodgers seemed happy enough with the workout. Maybe not the scoreline, but the overall effort. Said we did some things. Well, others not so much. And that's preseason. Thing to keep in mind here is even though this was our 3rd preseason match, it was the first run out for a lot of the main players. So if you're judging it the same way you judge McGregor in his first game back against Queen's Park, then you gotta be fair. Same fitness levels, same lack of sharpness. Plenty of wayward passes, heavy touches. Amita's still miles. Off-match sharpness. But we know he'll be fine once the real games start. And listen, I know how this works. Celtic lose a behind closed doors friendly, and suddenly it's headline stuff. Like the Daily Record out here saying we couldn't invoke the spirit of the Lisbon Lions. Come on, it's a preseason friendly. No fans on a training ground. Let's keep some perspective. The boys had the day off on Sunday, and they're back in with double sessions now, gearing up for the next friendly against Sporting on Wednesday. Just as a wee preview, the next few games in our preseason calendar are all against proper champions. League level teams, Sporting, Newcastle, Ajax, all 3 already qualified for the group stages this year. So this is where things get real. You want to test your level, these are the matches to do it. And it'll tell us a lot about where the squad is as we head towards the competitive fixtures. Right then, let's crack on because there's still plenty to get through. Bit of transfer chat to cover, and some updates on players that might be on the move or at least thinking about it. Now, late last night, we had a wee update from Sky Sports saying that Melbourne City are looking to bring Marco Tilio back. Either a loan or even a permanent transfer is being looked at. And right off the bat, I'll just say it. No, I've not heard anything from folk over there. And even if I did, it's not like they'd be spilling the beans on it anyway. But look, you might remember not that long ago, Tilio did an interview with Optus Sport. Must have been 2 or 3 months back, where he was asked about where he sees himself in a year's time. And his answer was pretty clear. He wants to be playing regular football in Europe. Now he didn't say outright that he wanted to stay at Celtic, and that always stood out to me. Because if a player's dead set on proving himself at his current club, especially one the size of Celtic, they usually say that. But Tilio kept it open-ended, and if we're being honest here, that probably means he knows his time at Celtic might be coming to a close, at least for now. The thing with going back to Melbourne City is that the A-League season doesn't actually start until mid-October, so there's still a few months before the ball even gets rolling down there. It's a shorter season too, but they've got Asian Champions League football this year. So that's more fixtures, more exposure, or maybe more motivation for Tilio to head back if the option's there. Still, if you're looking at it from his point of view, maybe a return home isn't such a bad thing. Get minutes played with confidence, maybe reset a bit. But at the same time, you'd think a player who said he wants to be in Europe would try to find another club on the continent instead of going back to Australia. That part I don't quite get. We'll see how it unfolds. Thought he looked alright in a friendly, not stand out but decent. Played his part in the build-up to the first goal, looked tidy enough on the ball. But maybe he's just not quite fitted in the way he or the club expected. Then there's the situation with Hyun-Jun Yang. Word is Norwich City are interested, and Yang himself seems open to exploring a move. That bit caught my attention, because if the player's already signaling he's open to leaving, then you have to think conversations have already started behind the scenes. Celtic haven't made any final call yet, but the fact there's interest from England and mainland Europe does put pressure on the club to make a decision. And look, I said this before. I'm not Yang's biggest fan, but I'm not his harshest critic either. He's a tricky one. You saw in the second half of last season, he was definitely improving. He started getting into better positions, was more involved in creating chances, and you could see his confidence growing. But is that enough? That's the big question. Because when you're playing for Celtic, especially out wide, the standards are sky high. We're used to guys like Jota Abada Sinclair, wingers who can take a game by the scruff of the neck. With Yang, you don't always get that. So in a perfect world, I'd keep him around for another year and see how he develops. But if Norwich are willing to come in with a decent offer, and by decent, I'm talking around £3 million, then maybe it's time to let him move on. You wish him well, and that's that. Right, moving away from transfers for a moment, Brendan Rodgers also gave a wee update on Jota. Or should I say JA, since we all know who we're talking about. And it's not the best news if you are hoping to see him back in the squad soon. And the update is that he's unlikely to play again this calendar year. Now that's gutting, but not unexpected. It's a proper serious injury in ACL, and those things take time. You can't rush them. Rodgers said he's making good progress, that he's been working hard in the gym, and he can straighten the leg now, which is a big milestone. But even then, the manager said it's going to be next year before we see him back. And even then, it won't be the old Jota we all love not right away. That kind of injury takes more than just healing. It's about building up the match fitness, the confidence, the explosiveness. So even if he's back on the pitch in, say, February or March, you're probably not seeing his best until the following preseason. And it does hammer home the reality we're going into this season without one of our best attacking players. Cog's gone and still not been replaced. Now Jota's out for at least half the season, and Nicholas left as well. That's 3 major pieces of last season's puzzle that we don't have anymore. Reinforcements are needed urgently. Also, a quick word on Kasper Schmeichel. Some folk were wondering why he wasn't involved in the friendly. No drama there. Turns out he only returned to training at the start of the week, so they're just easing him in. He's expected to play in the upcoming game against Sporting, so nothing to worry about on that front. Now let's talk about Brendan Rodgers for a minute, because there was a wee bit of chat about his contract. The media brought it up as they do, asking whether anything had changed over the summer. Just as a refresher, his current 3-year deal is actually up at the end of this season. So as things stand, this could be his last year in charge, unless something changes. Rodgers was pretty calm about it, said they've had conversations touched. Base over a meal with some of the big wigs at the club, but nothing's imminent. No new deal on the table yet. Now some folk might be panicking over that. Why haven't we locked him down? What does this mean for the future? And it's fair to ask the questions. Your manager is the cornerstone of the project, and if there's uncertainty, it can trickle down. But I'm not losing sleep over it. Rodgers was clear. He's motivated. He's focused on pushing the club forward, and you can tell that's genuine. The guy's legacy is massive to him. He's not coasting. Whether he signs an extension or not, I don't think it changes the effort he'll put in this season. In fact, even if he knows this is his last year, you better believe he'll want to go out on a high, because that's how he operates. Everything's about pride, ambition, and leaving a mark. You can debate the long-term implications all you want, but short-term, I think the team's in good hands. And as for whether or not this affects recruitment, I don't buy that. Celtic is bigger than any one man. If Rodgers is here next season, great. If he's not, we move on. Club will still be strong. Of course this story's not going away. Rodgers will get asked again probably after every press conference. That's how it goes. And it is an important situation, but I'm not worked up about it. Bigger fish to fry right now. Like getting quality attackers and sorting the back line, like getting everyone sharp for the new season. And just before we finish off, we message from Stevie. A lot of you have been asking where he's been, and don't worry, he's alive and well, just taking it easy. Sent in a wee clip from his trip out to the Isle of Thanet. Says he's resting up, enjoying the calm before the storm. And he'll be back soon enough, probably in time for the St. Mirren match. Classic Stevie says preseason's not for him. Fair. Enough. He'll be back outside Celtic Park in no time, ready to moan about signings and dodgy referees. You know how it is. So that's where we're at right now. Bit of a mixed bag. Preseason performances have been okay. Some positives. Some issues that still need sorted. Transfers still up in the air. Injuries are a factor. And the manager's future, while not exactly concerning, is still not fully resolved. But the big picture, we've still got time. There are games to be played, players to come back to full fitness, and hopefully a few more signings through the door. Soon! But buckle in. Next few weeks are going to be big. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers have begun to swirl around the Scottish football scene, sparking excitement and speculation among fans and pundits alike. It appears that Ellie Yuan, the talented forward currently plying his trade at HIBERNIAN FC, may be on the verge of making a significant move to Celtic FC. While nothing has been officially confirmed by either club, insiders suggest that talks could already be underway, and the prospect of Yuan strengthening the Celtic ranks is stirring plenty of buzz across the Premiership. Yuan, known for his pace, agility, and sharp eye for goal, has caught the attention of several top-flight clubs since breaking into the Hibs first team. His performances have been marked by a combination of technical skill and tenacity, making him a valuable asset in attack. At Hibernian, he has often been a bright spark, demonstrating an ability to change the course of games with decisive runs and well-timed finishes. Such qualities make him an attractive target for Celtic, a club always on the lookout for emerging talent to bolster their ambitions both domestically and in Europe. The rumors suggest that Celtic's scouting network has been closely monitoring Yuan's development over the past season. His versatility in forward positions and knack for linking play have reportedly impressed the club's management, who see him as a player capable of adapting to their style and adding depth to their attacking options. Given Celtic's desire to maintain their dominance in Scottish football and improve their continental performances, bringing in a player like Yuan would be a strategic move. Hibernian fans, meanwhile, might be bracing themselves for the possibility of losing one of their promising stars. While the club has a history of nurturing young talents and then watching them move on to bigger stages, the potential departure of Yuan could leave a gap in their front line. Nonetheless, the prospect of a lucrative deal and the chance for the player to compete at a higher level might make such a transfer inevitable. As things stand, official statements remain elusive, and the situation is very much in the realm of speculation. However, the timing of these rumors coincides with Celtic's known ambition to refresh their squad during the transfer window. If Yuan does join the boys, he would be stepping into a side with a rich heritage and high expectations, where he could flourish under the guidance of an experienced coaching staff. For now, supporters of both clubs and neutral observers alike will be watching closely, eager to see whether this whisper in the Scottish football corridors will materialize into a headline-grabbing signing. Will Ellie Yuan swap the green and white hoops of Hibernian for those of Celtic? Only time will tell, but the buzz is certainly building. Hello fam! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.